to Deep Sleep Stories. Thank you to everyone who's been listening. If these stories help you relax or fall asleep, a short review, comment, or sharing the podcast with someone who might benefit is a simple and meaningful way to support the show so that we may continue to offer it for free. Now, take a slow, gentle breath and let's begin tonight's story.
Welcome to Deep Sleep Stories, where your day can gently set like a soft sun behind distant hills, and your night can open like a sky full of quiet stars. Tonight, you will drift along a starlit waterway, carried in a gondola that glides through silver reflections and soft whispers of the dark. For now, there is nothing you need to do, nowhere you need to go. You are already exactly where you are meant to be. Let your body begin to settle as if it, too, were a gondola rocking gently on calm water. Feel the surface beneath you, supporting your weight, steady and sure. If your eyes are still open, you may let them grow heavy, and when you are ready, allow them to close. Take a slow, easy breath in, and let your lungs fill comfortably. Hold it lightly for a moment, and then exhale in a long, quiet sigh. Imagine that with each breath out, a little more of the day releases its hold on you. Any thoughts, any lists, any worries can drift to the edges, like leaves carried away by a gentle current. Notice the calm that begins to gather around your shoulders, the way a soft shawl might be wrapped around you. On your next breath in, feel that calm spreading down your arms, over your chest, through your back. With every exhale, your muscles loosen, as if they remember how to be soft and unhurried. Your jaw relaxes, your forehead smooths. Even the small muscles around your eyes let go. Slowly, the room around you fades a little, becoming quieter, dimmer, more distant. In its place, a new scene begins to appear, as peacefully as stars appearing one by one at twilight. There is a city woven of water and stone, where the streets are slender canals and the houses lean toward one another like old friends sharing secrets. Tonight the city is hushed, wrapped in a gentle blue darkness. Lanterns glow at doorways, their reflections trembling softly on the water. Far above, the sky spreads wide and deep and clear, scattered with countless stars. In this quiet, moonlit city, a gondola waits at the edge of a narrow canal, its polished wood dark and gleaming like still water. A lantern hangs at its prow, its light warm and amber, casting a soft circle that ripples on the surface below. Here in this dreaming place, there is a traveler. The traveler stands at the water's edge, breathing in the cool, night-scented air. They are wrapped in a comfortable cloak, the fabric falling in gentle folds that sway with each slow movement. The air carries the faint fragrance of old stone warmed in the day's sun, of distant flowers folded closed for the night, and of water that has known 1,000 reflections. The gondolier, a quiet figure with kind, patient eyes, offers a small nod and a hand as the traveler steps into the boat. The wood is smooth beneath the traveler's fingertips, its surface worn satin soft by many peaceful journeys. When the traveler settles onto the cushioned seat, the gondola rocks only slightly, like a cradle adjusting to a new weight. With a gentle push, the gondola moves away from the embankment, drifting into the center of the canal. The gondolier's oar dips silently into the water, leaving long, dark ripples that collapse into stillness almost as soon as they appear. Above them, the night sky opens wider. The traveler lifts their gaze and sees that the stars are unusually bright tonight, as though the sky has drawn nearer to the earth to watch over the sleeping city. Some stars are sharp and white, others a faint gold, others tinged with almost blue. Together they form delicate patterns, shifting and rearranging in the corner of the traveler's eye, as if the constellations themselves are listening, breathing, and dreaming. Buildings rise on either side of the canal, their windows shadowed and quiet. A few balconies are draped with trailing vines, their leaves whispering when the smallest breeze passes by. Every sound is gentle and softened. The distant creak of old wooden beams, the soft lap of water against stone, the faint rhythmic splash of the oar. The traveler rests their hands loosely in their lap, shoulders sinking with each exhale. The cloak wraps around them like a second silence, warm and protective. There is no destination to worry about, no schedule, no task to complete. There is only the steady, unhurried glide of the gondola and the shining river of stars above. They pass beneath a low stone bridge, its arch reflecting perfectly in the canal, so that just for a moment the traveler feels they are moving through a circle of stone and sky. Shadows deepen under the bridge, cool and blue-gray, and then the gondola emerges into a wider canal where the stars seem to double in number, reflected on the broad surface of the water like a second sky. The gondolier says little, for there is no need for words on such a night. Their movements are practiced and easy, every motion smooth, as though they have rowed along these canals since the city was young. From time to time they glance up at the stars, and a faint smile touches their lips, as if they too are soothed by the silent company of the night. In the distance a bell tolls once, then again, notes drifting across the water like slow rolled pearls. Its echo softens against the stone walls and floats upward, losing itself among the constellations. With each fading ring, the traveler feels their thoughts growing quieter, fewer, lighter, like feathers settling at the bottom of a deep, still pool. The gondola turns into a narrower canal, one rarely used. Here the lanterns are fewer and farther between, and the starlight has more room to stretch itself across the dark water. The air feels cooler here, touched by some hidden current that has traveled a long way. The traveler draws their cloak a little closer, not from chill, but from a pleasant, snug sensation, like drawing a blanket up under the chin. The gondolier lifts the lantern from its hook and lowers its flame with a careful twist, dimming the light until it is only a soft glow. The water around them reflects just enough of its warmth to outline the sides of the gondola, a faint suggestion of form in the darkness. Beyond that gentle boundary, the water and the sky begin to blend until the traveler can no longer tell where the canal ends and the heavens begin. The gondola glides on, slower now. The oar's strokes are long and unhurried. Each time the oar dips into the water, the traveler hears a quiet hush, a soft shh, as if the canal itself is whispering a lullaby. Between strokes, there is only the silence of late night, rich and full and kind. Gazing up, the traveler notices that one of the stars seems larger or closer than the others. It hangs low over the canal, a drop of silver light that shimmers gently, as if it is resting on the edge of a breath. As the gondola approaches, the star brightens a little, not harshly, but like a lantern wick being turned up just enough to show the shape of the room. The traveler watches as a faint silver path begins to appear on the water ahead, a luminous trail stretching out in front of the gondola. It is made not of light alone, but of reflections, the reflections of 1,000 stars woven together, forming a shimmering road that seems to rise slightly from the surface of the canal. The gondolier's voice, when it comes, is low and smooth. Tonight the stars are generous. That is all they say, but in their tone there is a warm, quiet certainty, as if this is a blessing the traveler has unknowingly earned, simply by being here, simply by being still. The gondola follows the starry path, its prow cutting through the luminous reflections. Where the boat touches the silver trail, small points of light drift outward, spinning slowly before dissolving back into the dark water. Each tiny burst of brightness is like a sigh of relief, a small letting go, a glimmering exhale. With every gentle sway of the gondola, the traveler feels their own breath deepening, their chest rising and falling in a slow rhythm that matches the motion of the boat. The edges of their thoughts grow soft, as if outlined in mist. There is a pleasant heaviness in their limbs, a welcoming weight that anchors them safely to the cushioned seat. The city begins to fall away, its buildings sinking into the darkness like islands slipping beneath a calm tide. There are no more bridges, no more lanterns, only the endless sky above and its reflection below. The gondola is now a small, steady shape in a vast, tranquil space, guided along the silver current of starlight. As they travel, the constellations overhead change and shift. A cluster of stars forms the shape of a swan with outstretched wings, gliding silently across the sky. Another cluster gathers into something like a crown, delicate and faint, and then dissolves into scattered sparks. The traveler's gaze drifts from one pattern to another, not trying to name or memorize them, simply watching them appear and fade. Time loosens its hold. Moments blur into one another like ripples merging on the surface of the water. The traveler could have been on this starry gondola for minutes or for hours, It does not matter. There is no before and no after, only the gentle now and unfolding without hurry. Somewhere above, a shooting star traces a slow, graceful arc across the sky, leaving a soft trail of light behind it. The traveler follows its path with relaxed eyes, feeling a small, quiet wish rise in their chest. Not for something to change, but for this feeling of peace to linger, to stretch out as long as it needs to. The gondola turns again, though there is no visible canal to mark the way. The water remains calm, the starry path unwavering. Ahead, a thin mist begins to gather, luminous with reflected starlight. It rises from the water like breath on a cold morning, forming a veil that shimmers with subtle colors, pale blues, soft violets, hints of pearly gold. When the gondola passes through the mist, the air feels even softer, as if every particle has been wrapped in silk. The traveler half closes their eyes, letting the delicate coolness brush against their cheeks. The mist carries with it a faint scent of night-blooming flowers and something else. Something like pages of an old, beloved book, the kind that remembers every hand that has ever turned its leaves. Within the mist, the sounds of the night grow quieter still, as if the world is holding its breath. The traveler hears only their own slow breathing and the distant, muffled rhythm of the oar. Thoughts, if they come, are like clouds drifting quietly past the moon, noticed and then left to move on without effort. When the gondola emerges on the other side of the mist, the sky has shifted again. The stars seem closer now, larger and softer, as if they are lanterns hanging just above the traveler's reach. Some appear to sway gently, as though stirred by a breeze that cannot be felt, turning their faces of light toward the gondola as it passes. The traveler feels a gentle curiosity, warm and mild, about how far this starry waterway might go. But the curiosity is not restless. It does not tug or pull. It simply accompanies them, a quiet companion that sits peacefully beside their growing sleepiness. The gondolier guides the gondola around a slow bend, and ahead a small cluster of tiny islands appears. They are not made of stone or earth, but of light, gatherings of starlight that have settled on the water and grown solid enough to hold a single tree or a patch of soft grass. As the gondola drifts closer to one of these islands, the traveler sees that the tree growing there is covered in silver leaves that tinkle softly in the faintest breeze, like tiny bells made of frost. They do not step onto the island. They only pass by, watching as the tree's branches sway with the rhythm of some distant lullaby. A few leaves detach and float down toward the water, glowing gently, then dissolving into sparkles that dance briefly on the surface before fading into darkness. On another island, a low arch of delicate stone rises from the water, covered in small, pale flowers that seem to emit their own light. The blossoms open and close slowly, breathing in and out in perfect time with the traveler's calm breaths. Each inhale draws the petals open. Each exhale lets them fold, gently closed. The traveler feels as though the whole starry world is breathing with them, keeping perfect, tender time. More islands drift by, each one a small, soft marvel that does not demand attention but welcomes it. There is an island of mist, shaped like a sleeping cat, curled into itself, its slow, rhythmic purring just barely audible as the gondola passes. There is an island of glassy stone that shows not the stars above, but the memories of the day, now softened, distant, and gentle. In the glass, those memories shimmer briefly, then dissolve into ripples that carry them away. One island holds a single lantern, unlit, yet around it, the air glows faintly, as though remembering all the times it has shone in the past. The traveler feels that if the lantern were lit again, it would tell stories in the language of shadows. Stories about all the travelers who have ever ridden in a gondola beneath this sky, and slowly, tenderly, drifted towards sleep. The gondola continues on, leaving the islands of starlight behind. The mist thins until it becomes no more than a suggestion of brightness at the edges of the traveler's vision. Above them, the great river of stars flows on, silent and immense. The traveler's head tilts slightly to one side, finding a comfortable angle. Their shoulders have slipped down, away from their ears. Their hands rest quietly, fingers barely curled. Breaths come long and slow. Every part of their body seems to understand that it is safe to release, to soften, to become heavy and still. The gondolier's strokes with the oar grow even more leisurely. Sometimes they pause entirely, allowing the gondola to drift on the quiet current with no effort at all. In those pauses, the stillness is so complete that the traveler has the sense of floating in midair, suspended between constellations, held gently by invisible hands. Far off, a cloud slides lazily across the sky, its edges glowing silver. For a time it grazes the path of certain stars, dimming them slightly, then moves on, leaving them even brighter by contrast. The traveler watches this slow dance of light and shadow, their gaze soft, unfocused, drifting. Their mind, like the cloud, glides easily from thought to thought, never staying long, never needing to. Eventually ahead of them, a new glow begins to appear on the water, not the sharp, direct light of lanterns, but a broad, gentle brightness, as if the surface of the canal itself is beginning to illuminate from within. The gondola moves toward it with tranquil inevitability. They arrive at a place where the water widens once more, forming a quiet basin cradled by low, dark shores. The basin is shallow so that the starlight reaches easily to its bottom. There the traveler sees smooth stones and swirling sands, all washed in silver. The whole basin looks like a bowl carved from night, filled with liquid starlight. At the center of this luminous basin floats a bed of woven reeds and leaves, so intricately braided that it appears to be a single seamless raft. On its surface lie cushions of deep blue and soft gray, scattered as though awaiting someone who has been expected for a very long time. The edges of the bed are fringed with small glowing seeds, each one pulsing gently with its own light, rising and falling like the slow beat of a calm heart. The gondola glides to the edge of this floating bed and comes to rest with barely a ripple. The gondolier sets the oar inside the boat and turns, their movements slow and unhurried. They extend a hand toward the center of the raft, an unspoken invitation. The traveler understands without words. They rise, feeling the pleasant heaviness of their limbs, a warmth spreading through them as though the stars themselves are now shining from within. Their footsteps are soundless as they step from the gondola onto the woven bed. It is unexpectedly firm and steady, yet soft enough to yield comfortably beneath their weight. They move to the center, to the place where the deepest cushions lie. With an easy, drifting motion, they lower themselves down, stretching out fully. The cushions embrace them, supporting exactly where support is needed, letting everything else sink and relax. The reeds beneath whisper the faintest rustling lullaby, like pages turning in a book that tells only stories of peace. The gondolier watches for a moment, the lantern light outlining their quiet smile. Then with care, they push the gondola away from the floating bed. It drifts back into the soft darkness at the edge of the basin, where it will wait, patient and silent, until it is needed again on some other night, for some other traveler. The floating bed begins to turn slowly, a gentle rotation on the surface of the luminous water. From where the traveler lies, the stars seem to circle overhead in a lazy, graceful spiral. Each sparkling point of light passes above them and then moves on, replaced by another and another. An endless procession of distant suns keeping watch. The cushions cradle the traveler's head, aligning it comfortably so that the neck can release its last bits of tension. Their arms rest at their sides or folded gently over their chest, however, feels easiest. Their legs are supported from hip to heel, no muscle having to hold more than a feather's weight. The floating bed rocks ever so slightly, its movement almost imperceptible, like breathing translated into motion. The night has grown even quieter. The far-off city is half forgotten, its stone streets and leaning houses receding into a soft blur. There is only the bowl of the sky, the shining water, the slow rotating bed, and the traveler who is drifting closer and closer to sleep. Each breath they take now feels like a small boat, leaving a tiny shore and returning again, over and over without hurry. Inhale, and the body receives cool, gentle air that soothes from the inside. Exhale, and everything that is no longer needed slips away. A stray thought, a lingering worry, the faint echo of a too bright moment from the day. All of it dissolves into the silent water and becomes part of the calm. Above, a particularly soft star seems to settle its gaze on the traveler. Its light is not strong or demanding. It is tender, like a hand resting lightly on a shoulder. The traveler feels it as a presence more than a sight. A subtle assurance that they are seen, that they are safe, that they can rest completely. The floating bed completes another slow circle and another. Time thins to a delicate thread and then loosens altogether. The traveler drifts between wakefulness and sleep, tasting the edges of dreams like the first sip of warm tea. Scenes begin to form in their mind, perhaps of other canals, other skies, other peaceful places, but they are too soft and wandering to hold on to. They flow past, gentle and impossibly kind. The water beneath the bed grows even more still, if such a thing is possible. It feels less like water now and more like the night itself, holding the traveler effortlessly, asking nothing of them. The stars continue their watch, yet even they seem to dim a little, as if lowering their voices to a whisper so as not to disturb the deepening rest. Soon the traveler's breathing becomes so soft that it is almost indistinguishable from the hush of the water and the faint rustle of the reeds. Their body grows heavier and heavier, while their mind grows lighter and lighter. Thoughts become distant flickers, stars on the far side of the sky no longer bright enough to keep them awake. In this turning, floating cradle of starlight, the traveler surrenders the last remnants of the waking world. There is nothing they need to remember, nothing they need to plan. The gondola has carried them as far as they need to go tonight, along a path of silver reflections and quiet wonder, to this place where rest is waiting like a gift, patient and sure. As the night folds itself gently around the traveler, the sky and water become a single, seamless darkness, soft and protective. The stars blur into a faint, luminous haze. The floating bed slows its turning, coming at last to a near stillness. Everything holds still with it, as if the whole universe has decided to rest. Here in this starry basin, the traveler sleeps. Soft dreams drift to meet them like small boats, gliding silently across the water, bringing stories of calm, of gentle journeys, of skies that are always clear and kind. Those dreams will watch over them as they sleep, keeping the world outside at a comfortable distance, letting every muscle, every thought, every corner of the heart rest deeply. The gondolier, far away now on another canal, hums a tune too faint to hear, a lullaby for all travelers everywhere who have ever watched stars from a small rocking boat. The tune joins the silence, becomes part of it, and in that silence the traveler's sleep grows deeper, steadier, more complete. The starry gondola ride continues in a way that no longer requires motion, no longer requires a boat, or even a body to carry. It continues as a feeling, a soft current of peace that flows through dreams, through night, through every quiet breath. And so the traveler drifts, cradled by darkness, wrapped in starlight, guided always toward deeper rest, deeper ease, deeper sleep. Good night, dear traveler. Sleep well.